Alright guys, Roblox Rivals has released so many weapons in the past, and today we're rating every single weapon, so you know exactly which one to use and which one to avoid. We're starting off with the worst weapon in the game in my opinion, is the flare gun. It has a cool skin, but like that's about it. As you can see, the radius is really tiny. Everyone can see where it is. Also, it drops a lot of frames, so if like a lot of people use it, GG's. If you manage to hit someone, it's pretty good, but like most people will not stand in the flare the entire time. Some of them will get hit, maybe hit them for like 20 damage, 30 damage, and then they're out of it. Also, you have only 2 charges, so GG. For that reason, the flare gun, we put it into D tier. Don't even start using it. Another weapon I don't like is the warhorn. You blow it, you're fast for like 4 seconds maybe, and then you have like a 60-second cooldown. But in my opinion, the 4 seconds of a boost, it doesn't really do much. I mean, you can push people faster, for example on crossroads, on arena, sure. So for that matter, it joins the flare gun in D tier. The subspace trip mine next. It's a pretty expensive weapon. I think it's like 350 keys. You place it on the floor. If someone runs into it, it does 149 damage. But you can also use it yourself to get some high advantage. It only has 2 charges. It's pretty expensive. You can use it in some sneaky ways and put it somewhere where people don't expect it and hope to get some 149 damage off them. But for me personally, if I use it more for like utility mobility, maybe get a snipe off. But since it's a pay to win weapon and it's not that good, I would put it on like a B tier. The smoke grenade, you have 3 charges, you can shoot it, it lasts for about 10 seconds. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of hiding in a smoke. Maybe if you want to reload real quick. But for me, the most important usage for smoke is if someone uses a lot of flame damage. For example, they have a flamethrower, a molotov, or a flare gun. Throw a smoke and it extinguishes the flames. So that's for me the only use case for smoke. So I would put it into C tier. It has some uses, but overall it's not that good. The satchels. The satchels can be thrown onto any surface and exploded. It deals 50 damage. However, if you throw it in the air, it only does 25 damage. What I use it for though is for the explosive boost. So you throw it, right click it, and you can launch yourself off a great distance. For me, it's actually better than a grenade because you can control it more. But also it comes with 3 charges, so you can boost yourself off 3 times. Especially in combination with the fist where you can double jump. It's really nice to use. So it's a really nice utility item. It's pretty cheap. It has 3 charges. It does 50 damage to the opponent if you use it correctly. And even if you use it incorrectly, you might hit him for 25. You can do it 3 times. So it's a crazy good item actually, and I put it into A tier. Next, the molotov. The molotov is a really nice item actually. You can throw it onto some people. It does some burn damage. Obviously, if they keep standing in it, you will kill them. But most of the time, I would say you deal like 30 to 40 damage, which is pretty nice. Especially if you have a secondary and a primary to do like the most of the damage, and then you can finish them off with the molotov or do some like additional damage. You only have 1 molotov though, however it restores after 60 seconds. Also, if you right click, you can throw that way closer at you. If you see someone is sprinting at you, you can like quick throw the molotov. Also that way, if you're really standing close to like a wall and you want to throw it up, it's also better that way. So molotov pretty cheap, I think 15 keys, pretty effective, and as a utility weapon I would say definitely good addition to your loadout. On to the medkit. The medkit is a quite expensive item. I think it's 350 keys to even unlock it. It takes 10 seconds to fully heal, so you can heal for an additional 100 HP. However, if you get shot during those 10 seconds during the healing phase, the medkit cancels. And you have to do it again. The cooldown is about a minute I think, or even longer than that, 2 minutes maybe. However, you can also right click with the medkit for 30 HP, which is instant. So for being such an expensive item, and most of the time you can only get the 30 HP off, unless you're playing on crossroads, where you can definitely get the 10 seconds off and you have to hide for that time, I would put it into C tier. It's not that good. It's so expensive. The jump pads. The jump pads you can put on the floor or any other surface. If you walk over it or jump on it, it bounces you off. It's kind of cool for mobility and stuff, maybe for some trick shots. It comes with a total of 2 charges. They don't refresh. What I prefer doing is like putting it on a wall next to like a stair. And then you can get some cool mobility off of it. So it's a cool, fun mobility item which is kind of cheap. You can use it here and there for some cool trick shots, but that's about it. So I would put it into C tier. Alright, speaking of the first weapon of the default loadout, the grenade. The grenade does 75 damage if hit. Also, the explosion radius is kinda large. When having the grenade equipped and you hold left click, you can also pre-cook it. So if you know, for example, they're charging at you or jumping over a wall, you can pre-cook it and align it pretty well. The good thing is everyone starts with it. You have one grenade, it refreshes every like 60 seconds or so. It's high damage and you can use it also for mobility. I would also put it into A tier. Everyone has it, you don't have to spend any keys. It does really high damage. You can plus the mobility, definitely a high A tier. The freeze ray has a total charge of 1. You freeze them for about 4 seconds, but it doesn't recharge. So you have 1 charge, that's all you get. And while they're frozen, they absorb half the damage. So if you snipe them in the head while they're frozen, it's only 75 instead of 150. If you pair it, for example, with the knife, you can freeze them, wait until it unfreezes, and basically get a guaranteed backstab. But other than that, it's pretty useless. So you have to have basically an entire loadout just to make the freeze ray work. And you have 1 try. So I put it into D tier. I don't like it. It's kind of cheesy. The flashbang. You have a total of 2 flashbangs. If you look right into it, you're flashed for like 5 seconds, I would say. You can dodge it quite easily by just looking away. And after the 2 flashes, you don't have any utility anymore. It can be nice to like flash people, go behind them, maybe take some damage off of them. But it's super easy to counter and you only have 2 of them. I put them into low Cs. Can be useful sometimes, but too easy to dodge. The travel, a pay to win melee. It's pretty expensive. A left click does a high damage of 50 pretty fast actually. So as a melee it's definitely good. However, the right click spawns a wall. The wall you can use to cover, maybe reload. Another good thing about the travel is if you do this wall and hit the 3rd box, it's kind of hard to do. But it's essentially better than a trip mine since it costs a lot of money, but it does 50 damage as a melee and you can use it as a utility weapon. I would put it into a high B. I would put it into an A if you can actually use the travel glitch better, but it's pretty inconsistent. Maybe if you practice it more. But for now it's gonna be in B tier. The scythe. The scythe is another melee item. It does 35 damage but pretty slowly. It's not really a melee weapon though, because it's more used for mobility. So if you have it out and right click, you can actually dash every 4 seconds. You can either dash high or into them or even away from them. Most often it's used while actually quick meleeing. For example, there's an enemy behind this. You don't want to actually switch to the scythe, so you just quick melee up and then you can push him. So overall the scythe is really good. I think it's only 25 keys. You have instant mobility. You can use it as a melee. I wouldn't actually do it. It's only 35 damage. But I would put it into high to mid A's. The riot shield, a really heavy object that you hold. And you can't shoot through it unless with certain weapons like explosive weapons, fire damage, or like things like the exogun or so. You can use it as a melee to do 25 damage really slowly. However, you have to be really close to a person to actually do the damage. So most of the time if people use a riot shield, it's because their opponent has really good aim. You don't want to get tracked too much. Or you use it on the back. So if you have something else equipped, you have the riot shield still equipped. So for example, I'm shooting someone with an AR, I have to reload, I can just turn around with the riot shield on my back, protecting me from damage. So overall, the riot shield is alright. It's too heavy. It has some use cases. So for example, while reloading, that you don't get hit in the back. But like overall, I would say bad players use it because their enemy has just great aim and they just want to hide. So probably pretty low C tier. The knife, one of the most famous melee weapons. It hits medium speed, medium damage for 40. However, it's mostly used for backstabbing, so one right click into the back is 150 damage. Most people use it to slide backwards and then right click. And it also has a pretty big hitbox. But often you have to change the entire loadout just to make the knife work, because you need good mobility and stuff and need high speed. So I would put the knife into B tier. Obviously, you become a god tier player with the knife and kill everyone like crazy with the grenade launcher maybe or other mobility items. But you have to dedicate a lot of time and you have to have a specific loadout. So for that matter, it's only a B tier in my opinion. Another melee weapon is the katana. It swings as fast as the knife, I would say, but does 45 damage. If you right click the katana, it reflects any weapons shooting at it. Obviously like grenade launcher, molotov, or even things like the exo gun you can't block. But for normal guns like the assault rifle, the burst rifle, the sniper, during those 2 seconds you can block every single damage, which is kinda nice. So you have an enemy that tracks you quite well and is pretty good, and use the katana. You can counter him quite well and he takes a lot of damage. So overall the katana is pretty good. You can spam the reflect every 4 seconds. I would put it into high B. And it has some also good melee capabilities. Onto the fist, the second weapon of the default loadout. The damage is actually quite high. It's only 30, but it hits pretty fast. Also, having the melees equipped, you can double jump as well. Also, using a quick melee, you can do something like, for example, cancelling the reloads, making the fist really versatile. Also, if you have something like the satchels, which give you an explosive boost, with the fist you can double jump with it and even change directions, which is insane. So fists have high damage, utility, cancelling reloads, good jumping tech, and insane mobility. So the fists, I would put them into S tier. They're so good and everyone has them. The chainsaw is the highest damage melee for a normal swing. It does 60 damage, as fast as things like the travel or the katana maybe. And you can also hold right click to do a lot of damage. It does have a cooldown though, so you have to wait until the fuel actually charges up again and then you can go again. So damage wise, the chainsaw is pretty hard hitting. Also you can use the right click for mobility. So altogether I would say the chainsaws are like lower Bs. Damage is good, but usability effectively in the game is not as high as you would think. The battle axe. The battle axe is quite an interesting weapon because not only does it swing and does heavy damage, like 55 pretty fast, you can also right click it to dash and do 40 damage. The dash also pushes people away for a second, so if you run into someone with the dash, they get flown into the air, which catches them often off guard. And in the meantime, you can keep tracking them. For example, if you have the assault rifle and quick melee into someone, you can play quite aggressively. So if you're an aggressive player, the battle axe might be for you. 55 damage, 40 for the dash. And you can launch people even off the map on maps like constructions. So I would say the battle axe is also another B tier. One of my favorite weapons is the Uzi. It's a secondary with 24 bullets. Body shot is 8, headshot is 10. On long range it's kinda bad though because 5 body shot and like a 6 headshot. However, it shoots really fast and if your tracking is good, you can beam people like crazy. So as a secondary, doing so much damage and being so cheap, also the reload is quite fast. It is a really high tier. I wouldn't put it in S tier, but it's, I would say, the highest A tier we have so far. It's really good, definitely use it. Another secondary, but it's the opposite of the Uzi. It's terrible. So the damage is in comparison pretty low. It does 30 damage, but the thing is it shoots 5 bullets at once as a burst. So now imagine having to hit 5 headshots while the opponent is moving, jumping around, sliding. It's impossible. You can become good at it, but I mean, you can hit a total of 37.5 damage if you hit 5 headshots at once. I don't know. The good thing about the burst, it actually penetrates things like the riot shield and the katana, so if people spam that a lot, you can use that. But having to hit 4 headshots with 5 bursts each, so 20 headshots to kill someone, it's just too much. So definitely terrible weapon. It has some use cases, like I said, riot shield, katana, so I put it into C tier, but overall pretty bad. This slingshot was nerfed so often. It started off with 300 bullets, now it has 75, which is crazy. A headshot is like a 77.5, a body shot is like a 6. It can hit several people at once though, because the hitbox is kinda big though. If they're standing in a line and you're just spamming like this, it can be quite nice, especially close range. But since it only has 75 bullets and most of the time on crossroads and stuff, people are not that close to each other. And it's 350 keys. I would put it literally into C tier. Also, it's so annoying. It's so loud. Yeah, not a good weapon. The first shotgun of this video is the shorty. It has 6 bullets altogether, 2 at once. You can hit someone really close range into a head for 112 and body for 75. Medium range, you will see numbers like an 18, 19, so definitely a weapon you want to hit for really close range. It only has 6 bullets and the damage is just not it. So I also put it into mid Cs. If you play arena or like backrooms and you're really close to people, maybe even partnered up with a battle axe and stuff, so you're really close to people, then sure, use it. But like, it's really rare that you are in these situations where the shorty actually excels. The revolver is an actually really good secondary for long range damage. Close range, it does something like a 40 and a 30. Long range, it does something like a 20 and a 15, which is kind of good for long range. It comes with 6 bullets, total of 42. And if you right click it, you can dump the entire mag into someone. It's kind of inaccurate though, as you can see here. This crouching does actually make it better. So if you have good aim, this weapon is super good close range, medium range, long range. It does some heavy damage. Also with the right click capability, I would also put it into A tier. It's a really nice weapon, so definitely use it. Another default loadout weapon, the pistol. Everyone has it since the beginning. It does some decent damage, for example, headshot close range is 16. Body shot is 13. Further away it's kinda bad with a 9 and a 7. The reload is really fast though. So I would say that's one of the fastest reloads in the game actually. It shoots kinda fast. However, there's a certain timing that you have to learn. On mobile and on controller with auto shoot, it's a bit different because it shoots for you. And if you shoot it too fast, as you can see, it bugs kinda out. So you have to shoot slower than you want. The favorite thing about the handgun though is the pullout time. You can shoot it immediately when you pull it out. So if someone is really low, like 140, you can finish them super quickly. I would also put them into like an A tier, like a lower A tier maybe, because of the pullout time. Everyone has it. Solid damage, medium range. But I would say overall it's better on controller or on phone because of the auto shoot. The EXITLAG, a pretty expensive secondary. I think it's also 350 keys. It looks kind of nice right now with the singularity skin on it. It comes with a total of 34 bullets, 6 at a time. 20 damage regardless if you hit a headshot or not, it's the same. The reload is amazing, by the way, and if you don't hit, it still has 10 damage, which means you can even hit 2 people at once with that fast of a reload. It's amazing. Also, katana, riot shield, doesn't matter, it penetrates through it, meaning it's another A tier. I know it's a lot of keys, but the keys are well spent, trust me. Another pay-to-win weapon are the energy pistols, also like 350 keys or so. I think you need the energy bundle actually to get it. Right now I have the void skin on it, sounds really nice. So they shoot really fast and also have infinite bullets, so you never have to reload. You can really hold this for 10 minutes, doesn't matter. As you can see, one body shot is like only a 5 and one headshot is only a 6. However, it doesn't matter how far you are away from the opponent, because literally long range or maximum long range, it's the same damage. But the fact that you don't actually have to reload it and you can shoot it across the map, and if you have a really good tracking accuracy, you can beam people like crazy. So on maps like Crossroads, for example, this one is definitely excelling. The only downside I would say of this weapon is if you have something else like the assault rifle and want to switch to it, it takes like 2 seconds. Compare that to a handgun. So overall, because the actual DPS isn't as high and because it takes pretty long to switch to them, I would put them also into A, but lower A's I would say. The daggers. The daggers are quite interesting weapon. You throw them, so it's a projectile weapon. You throw 2 of them at once, slightly delayed. One body shot is like 15. One headshot is 40. The hitbox is kinda large, by the way. So even if you hit like 1 meter next to it, you will still hit them. Right now, I think the daggers are really broken. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. It has a potential of hitting a double headshot for 80 damage. and it shoots quite fast, but right now they're super buggy. So I would say there might be like an A tier weapon, especially if you like become good at it, hitting 80 for a double headshot. But right now they are pretty unusable. They have double jumps though, so maybe I put it into C tier. One of my favorite weapons in the game and also my username, the sniper. Alright, it does 50 damage body shot, 150 headshots. You can counter it with a riot shield or for example a katana. Obviously it's a long range weapon, so if you're far away from it, it doesn't matter. Also the skin selection on it is fantastic. It gets even better if you pair it with something like the fist, because the fist, the quick melee capability, can make the weapon shoot twice as fast if you cancel it. So this weapon also joins the fists in S tier. So nice. The second shotgun that we have in the game is the normal shotgun. It's pretty close to the other one, so I think it's a 112, pretty close, and a 75 body shots. And then medium range, we look at things like a 26, 50 maybe. It all depends on how many bullets you actually hit. So you shoot like a total of like 8 bullets or so, actually 10. So if you go for a headshot, you might miss a lot of the bullets. So it's better to actually shoot on the torso, so all the 10 bullets actually penetrate. Also the spread of the bullet is quite large. You can make it better by just crouching or by right clicking. Doing both together doesn't work. Shotgun has some decent damage. Obviously it's only used for a short range. Most maps however are pretty medium or long range. So overall I also put it into a high C tier. On backrooms arena it can be good, especially with some mobility items, maybe some battle axe or so to like assist the close counter. But other than that, it's alright. The RPG has a total of 15 rockets. Indirect impact is 50. Direct impact is 100. So it's a heavy hitter. It's pretty unlikely that it hits someone with a moving rocket from far away when they're moving, jumping around, sliding. It's better actually to use for a mobility item because the explosion boost. It's pretty cheap as well, I think only 15 keys. But just the fact that it's so hard to actually line up a rocket to hit directly on medium-sized maps or longer, it's kinda bad. So I would also put it into really bottom C. I would say the most famous pay-to-win weapon, the paintball. It got nerfed so many times. The cool thing about it is headshots and body shot is the same damage. So if you have bad aim and don't want to go for headshots, you can just go for the torso. It doesn't really matter that much. And as you can see, it's like an 18.5 damage, which means I can kill someone within 9 shots. It's crazy. The only downside is for example, the reload is pretty slow. It's like 4 seconds and it only has 40 bullets. So if you play a 4v4 3v3, you might run out of bullets. And as a pay-to-win weapon, that's kinda bad. So overall, I would put the paintball into S tier. But since it only has 40 bullets, it only is effective in 1v1s and 2v2s. So I'm gonna put it into mid-A's. Another pay-to-win primary weapon is the minigun. It comes with 300 bullets. However, you have to first charge it, so it rotates and then you can start shooting it. You can also just right-click to spin it infinitely, so you can immediately shoot. So for example, if you know that someone's coming around the corner, you can basically like, one body shot is about 8 damage, and one headshot is 10. On really long distance, it's the same, so it doesn't have much damage drop off. It's the weapon with the fastest DPS. As you can see, it can shred people. It has 300 bullets. The only downside with it is you're super slow. Also, you can counter with the riot shield and a katana, but since you're so slow, people can like line up a molotov or grenade pretty easily. So for that matter, I would say it's not an S tier. You can counter it, so I would also put it into mid-A's next to the paintball. The most interesting weapon I would say is the gunblade. It's a gun and a blade at once. You shoot once, it becomes a blade, and then it toggles back to a gun. But if you don't hit the actual bullet with the gun, it stays a gun. I'm so confused. It's really interesting. Also pretty buggy right now. For example, it shoots currently if it actually slices someone for some reason. I don't know why. Body shot is 40. Headshot is a 50. Range doesn't matter. And if you hit someone with the blades, It does 35. Also in the blade mode you can actually move around like it's a scythe every 2 seconds though. But since it's so buggy and kinda hard to use, I would give it like a mid-C tier. There are better weapons for sure, but it's a fun weapon to try. The grenade launcher, I would say the weapon that is known for no damage. The normal damage I would say is 35 if you hit it indirectly. If you directly hit, which is super hard to pull off when you're moving, sliding, everything, also it's a projectile weapon, is 80. So it's a heavy hitter if you line it up correctly. However, it's more known for the movements. It's crazy. Also, obviously another pay to win weapon. It's pretty expensive. Mobility is 10 out of 10. Damage is kind of hard to pull off. Most of the time you will hit indirectly for only 35. But if you hit them, it's 80. I would put it into high Bs. Good mobility and super good if you are a god at it, which is hard. Flamethrower, I think one of the best weapons if you're super close to people. With right click you can boost yourself or even your enemy. It starts hitting targets at like 7 meters radius, I would say. If you hit them once, it hits them for like 9 damage, but then they keep burning for another 25 damage. Obviously if you keep holding, it's really strong. Also, the radius is quite significant. On maps like Crossroads, this gun is kinda bad, but I like that you have mobility with it. So if you go for close range action, I would definitely pair it up with a battle axe to even make it more lethal. Since this weapon is mostly only used for short range, but in short range it's super OP and probably the best weapon, I'm gonna also put it into A tier, like a low A tier. Just because long or medium range it's kinda useless. The energy rifle is quite an interesting weapon as well. It has infinite bullets, has a medium like shooting fire. The shots actually bounce off. Body shot is 20, headshot is 25. If you're super accurate, it's kinda good. However, if you line up some shots, you can hit a lot of people, even indirectly, even if they're hiding. Realistically though, this will never really happen. You will most likely hit 0 or 1 person. But the fact that it's actually a pay to win weapon, you have to spend so many keys for it, makes it like a low B for me. It can be useful sometimes, but not really. The crossbow is actually also an interesting weapon. It comes with a total of, what, 31 bullets or arrows. Body shot is a 45. Reload is quite fast, but it only shoots 1 bullet. Headshot is a whopping 75. So 2 headshots, the person is dead. If you now use something like the fist to like cancel the reloads, it becomes even faster and a more lethal weapon altogether. It's pretty good. Also, it's pretty cheap as well, I believe. Overall, it can be a really good weapon, depends on you. I would put it into a mid-Bs. It would be an A, but it's kind of hard to use. Onto another weapon that's kind of hard to use is the FAMAS or the burst rifle. Each bullet does 20 damage, so full burst body shot is 60. A full burst headshot is 75, so 20 for body shot, 25 for headshot. What makes it hard to use though is the fact that hip firing is really inaccurate, especially medium or long range. As you can see, the bullets are not even close. To make it accurate, you have to ADS, then it's a laser. But the fact that you always have to ADS a weapon to make it accurate, it's more like a sniper to be honest. If it would be 100% accurate while hip firing and shoot a bit faster, it would be definitely an S tier. Right now, I don't think it's even an A tier weapon. It's just too hard to use for most people, not for pros. So I would make it a high B. You can become good at it, but it takes some time. Same with the bow. Like a bow is a weapon with double jump, which makes it really like fun to use for movement and stuff. So for example, if you're a knife player, it might be a really good addition to your loadouts. Headshot is 50, body shot is 30, so 3 headshots is a kill. You can also with right click charge up the weapon even harder for a maximum of 120 damage. The hitbox is kinda big by the way. If you learn the hitbox and when to hit a headshot, it becomes kinda broken, but I think similar to the daggers, the gun right now is kinda glitched. I don't know what's happening right now to be honest. It might be just the server. What is going on? In itself, the weapon is pretty strong. You can't block it with katana. You can move pretty fast. You can strafe pretty fast. 30 for a body shot, 50 for a headshot. Honestly, I put it into like a A tier list. The last weapon and the last weapon of the default loadout, the assault rifle. Right now I have the AK-47 skin on it. It has 20 bullets in the magazine and a total of 120 bullets. So you will effectively never run out of bullets. It's insane. The reload is quite fast, like 2 seconds. Then body shot close range is a 13 and 16 for headshots. Long range we're looking at things like 9 and an 11, which is also pretty strong. If your tracking is good overall, this weapon is so amazing. The DPS is amazing. For a free weapon that everyone has at the beginning, you can just beam people like crazy. With fast reloads, with a lot of bullets. Honestly, with this weapon you can't go wrong, and it's a default loadout anyways. So this will join the weapons in S tier. It is as good as it gets. Definitely use it and become good at it as well. Alright guys, there you have it. There are all the weapons in the game currently with the tier list that you need. Let's go.